everybody, this is Mr. Rob and welcome back to another episode of the Delaware Blue Hens Dynasty here on EA Sports College Football 26. And today, Delaware hits the road for the first time as they will travel to face one of their two Power 4 teams this year in the Vanderbilt Commodores. Both teams come into this game 1-0. Delaware won 40-35 against Coastal back in Week 1 while Vanderbilt took care of their FCS opponent. And even though this is supposed to be like a money game of sorts for Delaware, I think this is a game we have a shot at potentially pulling an upset for. It's not going to be easy. I'm not going to say we are. But if there's a Power 4 team to beat, Vanderbilt is always at the bottom of that grouping. So if we can come out and play our best football, we could win this game. As we are underway here in week number 2, if you're excited for this one, make sure you drop a like and you subscribe down below, especially if you want more Dynasty Mode content. As it will be the Commodores starting off with the football here in Nashville. And they'll be led out by redshirt freshman quarterback Everett Donahue, who had a great debut last week. 333 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 an interception. As the 3-star from Avon, Connecticut will start the day taking a sack. Colin Gallagher gets in the backfield. We really struggled in the pass rush last week, so it's good to see us get a sack on the very first play of the game. Second and 15, Donahue, only a 3-man rush, throws it short and it's incomplete. And Vanderbilt faces an early third down and long. This will be a big play for the Delaware defense so they can get off the field as Dynasty lobs this one up right side, and he's got his man downfield. That is Cam Perry with the catch. Interesting call by Delaware's defense. They had a third and long, and they went man press. And I don't know if I agree with that as it didn't work out. A new set of downs. Here's a nice 2-yard connection by Donahue, and we'll see if that gets the offense in a groove. Sprint out pass here on first or second down. Short. This one caught by Chance Fitzgerald, the senior. As you can see, Donahue's numbers 22 from 35 last week. 4 total touchdowns, 3 in the air, 1 on the ground. Third and inches, he goes to the QB sneak and he gets it, so that'll reset the chains. Back to the ground game here. Here's Jace Clarizo, the true sophomore who spent last year at Michigan State with the carry. 10 carries, 62 yards in last week's win. Second inches to go back to Clarizo, and he won't get it. Actually goes backwards there. So third and 1, so misdirection, but Clarizo has a hole up the middle, and now Vanderbilt's going to be goal to go as he falls down at the 3-yard line. Good start for him, 3 for 24. Fourth carry here, left side, he's tracked down by Scott at the 2. Second and goal now, motion out of the back, they hand this one off, and it's down to the 1-yard line. Third and goal from the 1, actually it's the half. They come out goal line again, and they'll QB sneak it for a second time this drive, and it works. Touchdown Vanderbilt to take a 7-0 lead on their first drive. Seems like Delaware could have got off the field allowing no points, but unless they're down 7-0, as we'll see the offense take the field. Blake Brown and Jake Burdell had a really good connection back in week number 1. We'll have to rely on that here in week number 2. Starting off for the 25, handoff for Saeed St. Fleur, who got off to a nice start last week. He actually ran the football well last week, 125 yards on the ground for St. Fleur and 2 touchdowns. Something we struggled at last year. Second and 3, he gets a first down, but this play looks like it might be coming back. Thomas Amanqua, the senior slot receiver, is going to get called on a hold on the outside, and that'll negate the first down. Makes it now second and 11. Brown will go to the air for the first time. Looks short for St. Fleur, and he's intercepted. Picked off across the middle by Brandon Silas. That's the first interception of the season for Brown and Silas. And Delaware is in some deep trouble. Vanderbilt takes over. It's third and 5 from the 26. They want it all here, and that one's knocked away. Good defense by the Iowa transfer, Zion Armstead. Vanderbilt will kick 3, but just like that, they lead 10-0. And Delaware's not careful. This one can get away from them. First down here. Brown's hit as he throws. Mason Nelson with the hit. Now it's a third down for the Delaware offense. Trying to move the sticks. Brown drifts to his left, hit as he throws, incomplete, and we'll punt it back to Vandy, who's in the driver's seat, and this one could get ugly fast. Play a fake here on first down, but down he is intercepted. Dylan Worley comes down with it. That's the first interception of the season for the Delaware defense. Second for Donahue, and that could be the life that we need as Sparks. We'll get it down to the 19 now. First down handoff for St. Fleur, who gets some nice blocks, and he's into the end zone. Touchdown, Blue Hens, and all of a sudden it's a 3-point game. And Delaware has marched right back into this one thanks to the turnover caused by the defense. So now the Vanderbilt offense has to retake the field. They'll start this drive at their own 24. As Donahue back to the air on first down. Maneuvers in the pocket, left side, and he's intercepted again! This time it's Kingsley Royal, and he has a path for a pick six. 31-yard pick six for Kingsley Royal, and Delaware has the lead all of a sudden. It was just 10-0 just a few moments ago, and all of a sudden the Blue Hens, off of a pair of interceptions, have taken the lead. Kingsley Royal, who did not have a good offseason, but needs to get on the field, plays in the slot, and he comes down with a big pick six. First down run there, Gavin Moll is grabbing at his leg. That is not a good sight. He would be okay, though, so he might miss some plays. He's on 3rd and 1 here. The ball is on the ground, and it's picked up by Delaware. Dylan Worley with it. Third straight turnover for Vanderbilt, and Delaware will take a 14-10 lead into the second quarter with the football in Commodore territory. This game all of a sudden is flipped on its head as it's all Blue Hens. We'll start the second quarter at the 28 of Vandy. It's a handoff for St. Fleur, who's averaging over 10 yards a carry. As there's another 9-yard there, 5 for 50 now. Continuing to rely on the ground game. They go back to a big hole up the middle of the line, doing a good job moving these Vandy front four. And his goal to go now here for the Blue Hens. St. Fleur is feeling it. He'll stay in here. Gets the carry up the middle, and he's going to walk into the end zone. Touchdown, Blue Hens. His second touchdown of the day, and it's 21-10 Delaware. Vanderbilt jumped off to a 10-0 lead, and it's been 21 unanswered for the Blue Hens, and now Vandy finds themselves on the back foot. 2nd and 11 here, and they're going backwards. A TFL on the outside by Crenshaw, and it's 3rd and 16. Vanderbilt tries a screen, but they're not going to get there, and they're going to punt it back to the Blue Hens, who have all the momentum in this one. At about midfield here, first down, and this one's batted down. There's a good hands by Simeon Boulware. Brown's only 3 for 10 for 26 yards and an INT, but he hasn't had to do much thanks to the defense. 2nd and 10, this one out for Burdell. There's a nice play as he gets a first down. He's at the 36. And again, Delaware seems to be putting together a drive that could result in some points. First down carry for St. Fleur. He's tracked down before he can get going. Angelo Bishop, the redshirt freshman, with the stop. 2nd and 8 now. Blake Brown back to the air under some pressure across the middle. Finds Thomas Amankwa. Good job by Brown to stay in the pockets. 8th first down of the day for Delaware. That's double what Vanderbilt has to this point. Next play going back to the air. Shorts. Here's St. Fleur out of the backfield, and he will get close to the sticks. Inches shy. Touch pass here to Amankwa, getting his 3rd touch, and he gets the first down. Now it's 1st and 10 from essentially the 10 for Delaware. Screen pass out for Greg Spiller. The sophomore cuts it up, and he's close. Down at the 1-yard line, and Delaware's on the doorstep. St. Fleur back in. They're going to hand it to him, and he will not get there. Stonewall there by Vanderbilt. Glenn Seabrooks leads the way. On 3rd and inches, they're going to try it again, and this time St. Fleur is in. The hat trick here in the first half for Saeed St. Fleur, and it's 28-10 Delaware, a 3-score lead for the lowly Conference USA team. Vanderbilt in danger of getting embarrassed now as they go with an RPO, but it goes backwards. Dylan Worley having a great game thus far there. 3rd and 2 now for the Commodores in the pistol, desperately needing this first down. Down as he faces the blitz, wants it all, will throw it up, and this time Khalil Ali will get the better of the receiver. He got beat deep earlier, doesn't get beat deep twice. 2-minute warning now, and Delaware, look where they're at. They're going to be on the 2. St. Fleur over 100 yards already, and we're still 2 minutes to go in the first half. Will he get another rushing touchdown? Blake Brown will try to do it himself, but he won't get it. And Vanderbilt will use timeout number 2. 2nd and goal. It's a handoff to St. Fleur, who's got the edge. Gets a great block from Small, and he's in. Touchdown, Delaware. 4 rushing touchdowns for Saeed St. Fleur, and it's 35-10. What is going on here in Nashville? As Vanderbilt now with a 2-minute warning, and keep in mind, the Blue Hens get the football at the second half. So Vanderbilt really needs to put together a 2-minute drill here. It's on 2nd and 3. There's a nice crossing pattern. Cam Perry, the Miami, Ohio transfer, out past midfield, and the Commodores with 1 timeout. They'll go hurry up here. Coming in on about a minute. Donahue to the air. Gets some good protection. Left side. This one incomplete. Beautiful coverage by Armstead again. Makes it incomplete. 2nd and 10 now. Outside an RPO, but it's read perfectly by Dylan Worley, who's been great on the outside today. And now a 3rd down for Vanderbilt. They are going to hurry back to the line. They want to try something here. They send everybody deep. Donahue will launch this one to the corner. Receiver has position, but a good comeback from Khalil Ali to break that one up. Junior Sherrill, the impact wide receiver, did box him out, but Ali was able to reach over and knock it free. A terrible punt for Vanderbilt gives Delaware a small chance here with 36 seconds. Why not try to go for some more points as they get a first down here? They have all 3 timeouts. They're not going to use one here. Don't know if I agree with that as they hurry back to the line. Play fake for Brown, trying to keep his eyes downfield, and he will throw this on the run, and he will actually find Amankwa for a big first down. The only problem is the play will not count. There was a holding call back at the line of scrimmage by Delaware, and that's a big shot to this drive. Noah Rosahak, the culprit. So now you got 1st and 20, 15 seconds as Brown to the air again, or some pressure, just gets rid of it, and 4 seconds come off the clock. 2nd and 20, they go back to play fake, short for Burdell. He gets out of bounds with 6 seconds. And it doesn't seem like anything's really going to happen here. Delaware looks like they're just going to run the football out here, see what happens. They give it to St. Fleur, and Fleur's got a crease. It's a foot race to the pylon, and Saeed St. Fleur will win it. A touchdown for Delaware as clock strikes 0. That's 5 first half touchdowns for Saeed St. Fleur. Delaware was just trying to run the football out and get to the half, but they get 7, and they lead 42-10 going in to the second half. What a quarter for Delaware. A 28-point second quarter. Saeed St. Fleur, 163 yards, 5 touchdowns, 10.9 average. This senior having himself a career day. And Delaware starts off with the football. Why not go back to St. Fleur? This time he does get bottled up as he only gains 2. Already well eclipsing what he did last week. 2nd and 8 now. Brown to the air. Crossing pattern. He'll find Thomas Amankwa, and that'll be a first down. Out to the 38. 4 catches, 44 yards for the senior. Next play is a handoff to St. Fleur. Another big gap. And again, you got to give credit to this offensive line. They've done a phenomenal job of opening up running lanes here, including this one. But late, this one will not count. It looks like there's going to be a illegal block on the back and the outside. Farah Tori, the transfer wide receiver, the culprit. So instead of a first down, it's 2nd and 6. It goes to St. Fleur again. He's quickly going to be tackled down by Mason Nelson. And now it's a 3rd and 5. Brown will go to the air. Here comes a blitz. He counters with a throw outside, and Thomas Amankwa will come down with it. Having himself a good game, 5 for 57, and Blake Brown's numbers don't look so bad after a really, really bad start. Greg Spiller now in the game. He'll get his first carry for a gain of 5 on the outside, giving St. Fleur a little bit of a breather. He had a heck of a second quarter. As on 2nd and 5, they go back to Spiller, and again, he gets the running lane he needs. Carmine Lupi, the center, will come off the field with an injury, though, so that might hurt this O-line that's dominated today. But on 1st and 10, they're going to go play fake. Brown throws it short for Spiller, but he can't hold on. Broken free by Angelo Bishop. 2nd and 10 handoff, and Spiller is going to be nailed by Boulware in the backfield, and it's a 3rd and 11. Delaware going to be forced to go to the air here as Brown looks, and he's hit as he throws. That one's incomplete. We'll try the 48-yard field goal, try to add 3 more. This will make it a 5-score game if we can connect. Casillas the kicker, and he will miss it. This one not close. So at least it's a 4-score game for Vanderbilt, but 5 minutes already came off the clock here. We'll see what Vanderbilt does with their first drive, as this one's incomplete. Trying to check it short for the tight end. But Delaware's defense has been all over the football. Here's a nice play out wide for Chance Fitzgerald, who bounces off a couple of tackles. He'll get it down to the 40, where it's 3rd and 1 now for the Commodores. We'll see what they can do. They come out goal line here. They're going to try another sneak. They will, but this time Delaware will stuff it, and they're not going to go for it here. They're going to punt it. And at 42-10 this late in the game, we're going to go a little bit faster here. No more scoring what happened in the 3rd quarter. And this game, I would have to say, is essentially over. In the 4th quarter now, it's 4th and 11 for Vanderbilt at the 25 of Delaware. This seems like the game here. You got to get points. And Donahue will lob it to the end zone. And again, Khalil Ali will win it. That one incomplete. Delaware later in the quarter would get it down into field goal range where they kick 3 more. And that'll do it for this one. Delaware destroys Vanderbilt in their home turf. 45-10. What a game for the Blue Hens. I said at the beginning of the game, this could be a game I think we could potentially pull off the upset, but not in this fashion. This didn't look like an upset. This looked like Delaware was by far the better team. Crazy to think about, but we had beaten a Power 4 team in this series. That is pretty awesome. The defense played great. We went down 10-0, and we scored 45 unanswered points. And honestly, we could have scored more if we didn't take it easy in the second half. What a game for the team. Even Blake Brown bounced back after throwing an interception on his first pass and starting off 3 for 10. St. Fleur, 5 first-half touchdowns. Who knows what he could have done if he would have ran the football with a little more purpose in the second. So because of this big performance, we do get some players of the week. Nationally, Dylan Worley gets it. Interception, a fumble recovery, some TFLs, and on offense, Saeed St. Fleur ends up with 254 yards and 5 total touchdowns. So what else happened in week number 2? Georgia and Oklahoma will do battle this week in a big SEC clash. We'll also see Texas go down to Ohio State. The Buckeyes upset the number 1 team in the nation, and they will fall because of it. Baylor, Arizona State, a big game in the Big 12 this season early on, and then we'll end it with Oklahoma ready for Georgia. They beat Michigan this week. Here are your scores from week number 2. Nebraska starts off 2-0. They beat Bowling Green, while Buffalo wins a shootout in Miami against the Panthers. Duke beats Illinois 32-8. Remember, the Blue Devils were in the playoff last year. They're trying to get back to that same position. We see Oklahoma does go to the Big House and win 28-23, a big-time win before they face Georgia. Virginia Tech takes care of in-state opponent Old Dominion. Tulane, wins a close one against South Alabama. Tennessee takes care of Kent State, and Southern Miss goes to Auburn and pulls off the upset, 22-20. Not a good look for the Tigers, who are now 0-2. Rutgers gets beat down at home by Michigan State, who are now up to number 10. While Toledo wins a close MAC game against Ohio. Boston College starts off 3-0 in their own right. They beat Kansas State. Iowa wins the Cy-Hawk Trophy this year, 28-26. LSU doubles up Houston, 42-21. See, the Tigers can have a good year this year after a disappointing year last year. Cal goes to BYU and wins 28-23. Penn State takes care of their rivals Temple. Clemson does the same thing against Georgia Southern, 41-17. Maryland hangs 57 up on UConn on the road. UCLA with a nice victory over San Diego State. Mississippi State now joins the rankings. They go into Minnesota and win 35-24. UNLV wins by a field goal over North Texas. Alabama puts up 59 on South Florida, while Texas State will take care of UTSA in the I-35 showdown. Boise State over Louisiana, 27-14. They get their first win of the season. A little bit later into the Saturday affairs, Missouri beats their rivals Kansas 34-31. Rice upsets Indiana on the road, 21-18. The Hoosiers have not captured that glory since going to the playoff 2 years ago. For their big game against Baylor, Arizona State lost to Texas A&M, so the Sun Devils could be upset before they go to home against Baylor next week. Notre Dame on the road will beat Florida State, finally getting their first win of the season. Wake Forest knocks off Purdue. Texas Tech knocks off Oregon State, and USC stays undefeated, 47-30. They have not lost a regular season game in this series. Arkansas squeaks out a victory against Utah on the road, and Appalachian State takes care of their rivals in East Carolina, 20-17. Ole Miss, who had a good year last year, trying to prove it's not a fluke, they beat Charlotte on the road. And then Pittsburgh takes care of Central Florida, 41-22. The game of the week, Texas did lose to Ohio State, 33-27. TCU puts up 56 on Sam Houston, and they round out the week with Hawaii getting the victory at home against New Mexico State. Usually we'll take a look at the players of the week after that, but we know they're both Delaware players, so we'll just take a look at the rankings. The interesting swap is that Ohio State and Texas literally swap positions with the outcome of that game. Ohio State goes from 7-1, and Texas goes from 1-7. A couple of new teams in the rankings in Texas A&M and Mississippi State, but still no group of 5 teams in the top 25. Here are your big games of week number 3. We know Georgia, Oklahoma is going to be the biggest. In the Big 12, you got Baylor, Arizona State. Number 10, Michigan State will play host to Toledo, but you always got to watch out for those MAC Big 10 matchups. And Notre Dame at home tries to build a winning streak as they'll play host against number 13, Miami. We have a game of our own on the road next week. We head to Missouri State, and this is a game I've been looking forward to since the series started because Missouri State is the team we're going to get compared to a lot in this series because we both joined the FBS at the exact same time. This is the first ever meeting between the two teams. Missouri State's off to a pretty solid start, 2-1, 2-0 already in conference play, as we'll look to start conference play of our own with a win. So that'll be in the next episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. How about the victory here today against Vanderbilt? Pretty awesome to see. But if you enjoyed, make sure you drop that like and you subscribe down below, especially if you want more Dynasty Mode content. This is Mr. Rob, and I'll see you in the next one.
Oh.